Welcome to A Drink of Wisdom with Nathan Drinkard. I'm Jay Wise. Thanks for spending some of your time with us. As you well know, our show is hosted on the Anchor app, but we're also on all the major podcast platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, just to name a few. And if you are looking for the video format of the show, you can find us on the A Drink of Wisdom YouTube channel. And that's all I have for the intro as usual. What's going on, Drink? How we doing?
Hey, same old, another good old Wednesday, hump day. So glad to be in here with my brother from another mother. But as always, we see what they don't, say what they won't, and you know what time it is. Let's talk some sports, baby.
Episode 52. It's an all NBA package for you as the Pacers win big. We present our NBA awards and we take a brief look at the NBA teams that did not make the playoffs or the play-in. We begin with the Boston Celtics securing the number 7 seed in the Eastern Conference last night with a 118-100 win. Jason Tatum was the star, dropping 50 points. 23 of them came in the third quarter. Kemba Walker added 29 as the Celtics outscored the Wizards 66-46 in the second half after they trailed by a deuce at halftime. Bradley Beal scored 22 points as he continues to deal with a hamstring issue, and Russell Westbrook added 20 points and 14 rebounds. But the duo combined to shoot just 16 for 43 from the floor, and the Wizards as a team were just 3 for 21 from behind the arc. Boston will battle the Brooklyn Nets in the first round, while the Wizards will face a winner-go-home game tomorrow night against the Indiana Pacers. Drink, did this win do anything for the job security of one Brad Stevens?
No, it didn't. I think as far as the play-in tournament goes, it was like a lose-lose kind of for Brad Stevens. Because, all right, so they won, they locked in, I think they locked in the 7 seed now. That's cool. But I don't think it changed the dynamic of what could happen with Brad Stevens, because the play-in tournament, as they keep reminding us, is not a playoff game. So since it's not a playoff game, and not a regular season game, it's like a little bonus game, I don't think it does much for them. Now, with that said, all right, boom, you locked into the 7th seed, which means you're going to have that first round matchup with the Brooklyn Nets. Now, they go in here and Jason Tatum, drop him another 50 piece. And Kemba Walker give him 30, and they go ahead and let's say they lose the series to the Nets in 6 games. I think that would do something as far as the security of Brad Stevens' job. Matter of fact, I think that's enough to bring him back, in my opinion, because what are you asking? Like, he already lost Jaylen Brown. So I think the fact that he lost Jaylen Brown kind of built in a reason to bring him back. But if he can get a couple of wins against what most perceived as the favorite in the Eastern Conference, you got to respect that. And so with that said, I think his job would be good for at least another season, if he gets into this, wins a couple of games against the Nets. But as far as the play-in game go, nah, you ain't get no credit for beating the Wizards. Nah. It's the Wizards. You're supposed to beat the Wizards. That's exactly how people look at it. You the Boston Celtics. You Brad Stevens. You got Jason Tatum. And listen, I like the Wizards to win that 8th spot and get into the playoffs. But at the end of the day, there's no excuse. The Celtics are supposed to beat them. So to answer that question, no. But I would give the Celtics this credit. They came out. You needed a 50 piece for Tatum to win this game, evidently. You got it. You won the game. Kemba Walker, I didn't think he played bad. But you just think about it. Marcus Smart, I think he hurt his ankle. I think it was an ankle or his knee early in the game or whatnot. And, I thought he wasn't going to play, but he ended up playing 35 minutes. But I had to ask myself, was it 35 good minutes? His plus minus was plus 23, so maybe it was. But when I look at his stats, I disagree with his plus minus. But that's for guys like yourself with the big brains and the number crunching and this, that, and the third. They got good minutes out of Tristan Thompson. But let me just tell you right now. Listen, I had a lot of good things to say about this Evan Fournier trade from Orlando. He ain't gave me the goods yet. Every week I get on here and try to give some love to a player, and then this is what I get every single time. Every single time. hey man, he won't be that bad. I mean, he was playing for Orlando. Maybe it was Orlando that was messing him up, not him. And what did you say? Hey, I'm not sold on this guy. What has he done? And then he get a chance. He get a chance to go do something, and he scored 8 points in a play-in game in 36 minutes.
His plus minus was good too, though, so that's good.
That's why I say, man, this plus minus thing is just like he was plus 20, but yeah. So with that said, you know, you need more from Smart. You need more from Fournier. Tristan Thompson. I tell you like this: 12 points in 30 minutes. I'm not wowed by that, but he did have the 12 rebounds. But what I did like was they was kind of aggressive with Thompson. Like they was running it seemed to be like they was running some offense through him in the first half of the game, which is something you don't see with Tristan Thompson a lot. Like I don't remember them in those Cleveland days they was running offense through him. So I thought that was quite interesting. But to me, that's the microcosm of this story. That's the small part. The big part of this game, you know, is the Wizards. What are we doing here? Bradley Beal, Westbrook, are y'all done for the season? Is it a wrap? Wrap them up? Because I feel like y'all got a chance to actually get some respect on your name as a team. And the opportunity is just not getting seized here. It's just not getting seized. I thought this would be a time where we would see the Wizards that we seen at the end of the season, but you're looking more like the Wizards we seen at the beginning of the season. I don't know, but I was not impressed with this Wizards team. And you heard what I said on Saturday's show. I felt like the Celtics had the chance to be the 7. The Wizards got a chance to be the 8. That's still a possibility once the Wizards play the Pacers, but it's like, I don't know. I just seen the Pacers. We got them in the next segment. I don't know. So it's, you know, I was disappointed with the Wizards' performance. I'm not even gonna because you had to think a Wizards team with Russell Westbrook, Bradley Beal, and etc. could beat a Celtics team with Jason Tatum, Kemba Walker, no Jaylen Brown. And you got Marcus Smart scoring 7 points and Fournier scoring 8. Listen, I know Tatum scored 50, but God dog it, it's just one of them things where you say, let him go off and make the rest of the team beat you. One of those things. And that's just not gonna cut it. I'm sorry, that's not gonna cut it. Wizards. So let's see. If you go out here playing like this against the Pacers, see you later. Westbrook. That record you broke this year might be the high point. That might be the high point, buddy. That's not it. So with all that said, man, to get back to your original question, I do not think this win in the play-in tournament did anything for his job security. However, with him getting locked into the 7th seed, they play the Nets. I do think a win or two in that series could do wonders for his job security. He'll come back for another year. That's how I looked at that.
I disagree, but it's just semantically, because think about it this way. If he didn't win this game, we would come in here, well, maybe not me, but I think you would come in and he's like, oh, Brad Stevens in deep trouble right now, because if he fall out the play-in and lose to Pacers or Charlotte tomorrow night and they don't make the playoffs at all, I think that would be a big deal. So I think by not doing that.
But do you think that Jaylen Brown, like, I feel like when Jaylen Brown went down for the end of the season, in my head, I'm like, Brad Stevens probably going to hang on because of that.
Yeah, yes, but I don't think Jaylen Brown and no Jaylen Brown, I don't think it'd be excusable to drop out of the playoffs completely from the 7 to not even making it. I'm not saying he'd get fired. I just think that would just be another. But they would have got another game. Is my point, because they would have lost. They say they would have lost last night. Then they would have just played the Pacers, and then they would have beat the Pacers. Yes,
that's why I felt like this particular game didn't matter, because he still would have got another chance. What they're gonna say? Oh, we was gonna fire you against the Wizards, but we're gonna keep you against the Pacers.
Yeah,
Like,
what I mean was if he lost both games, if he lost this
okay,
game and the next game, that's what I mean.
okay.
But I mean, yeah, in the grand scheme of things, it's not that huge a deal because even though Washington, out of these four Eastern Conference play-in teams, Washington had been playing the best basketball out of all four of them. We know Charlotte's been slumping recently. Indiana, they've had their troubles. They've been, rocked by injuries. Seemingly, that's just an every season occurrence for them.
Right.
And we know Boston been up and down all year. It appeared at one point they were getting their act together, and then next thing you know, it's another losing streak. And they had a really bad close to the year. And that Jaylen Brown injury, I mean, that their season was effectively over, even though they're going to be the 7th seed. But I mean, I know, and we'll cover this more Saturday most likely. But I mean, I don't give them much of a shot at all against Brooklyn. A 6-game series against Brooklyn means Tatum probably drops 50 twice. And I don't even know if a 50-point game will get him a win. Because you look at Boston right now, and I know I'm kind of glossing over what happened in this game, but I mean, you just look at and I've said this before, their depth is just unimpressive. I mean, Robert Williams goes down last night with I think they say he has turf toe, he's day-to-day, but if he doesn't play, they're down to 5 people that you can put on the floor and say, yeah, we'll go with them. And that's including Fournier, who I don't trust at all. And
I'm over Fournier. I'm going to ahead say this one right now.
But think about it. You got Tatum and Kemba, Marcus Smart, Tristan Thompson, and Fournier. And then just look at the rest of this garbage. What even is this? I thought Peyton Pritchard had a nice rookie season, and he can't even get on the floor. Grant Williams is another guy I would give a shot, but he didn't even play. I'm left with the likes of Romeo Langford and Aaron Nesmith. What is this? And this goes back to the point that I think I made, and you remember. I think you'll remember very clearly when I kind of changed my tune on Boston, and it was the trade deadline, because it just made no sense to me what they did. And you get Fournier, now that's fine. He should be able to help you out, but on the other hand, you traded Daniel Tice, and now we see that's rocked their depth. And obviously, I got a lot of respect for Robert Williams. I think he's going to be a heck of an NBA player. But I mean, now you're left.
Ain't no Daniel Tice though.
Not Daniel Tice, and you just kind of need both of those guys. They've been, struggling on defense all year. That was kind of your defensive anchor. So now they're in a world of trouble. I think there's a sense of relief in that organization that they got to the play-in and they didn't get embarrassed and get just kicked out the playoffs, because that would have just been a sight to see. A little disappointing in Washington, because again, I thought they were playing the best ball and they had probably the most momentum. And correction from last show, I thought they could only get as high as a 9th seed. They got to the 8th seed courtesy of beating Charlotte and Indiana helping them out. So they only had to win one game, but now they're back in the win or go home scenario. And I mean, Bradley Beal's health, obviously a problem, but I mean, time and time again, and obviously this isn't officially a playoff game, but I mean, you just expect a little bit more from Russell Westbrook. I mean, that's all there is to it. You had somebody on the pregame, I guess we'll call it the pregame show, and somebody wanting to put all the blame on Russell Westbrook. I wouldn't put it all on him, because Bradley Beal is the 2nd leading scorer in the NBA, and he didn't live up to that last night. But I mean, both of their best players were not good enough. I mean, simply by name, that's one of the best backcourts in the league. But we know Washington, they score a lot of points. They don't defend very well. That showed last night. They had a lot of trouble with Jason Tatum and Kemba Walker, who had really good games. But I think, they weren't the only one. I mean, this guy, Davis Bertans, who we were talking about at one point last year, he comes in off the bench and doesn't do anything. A hot 1 for 8 and 0 for 7 from 3. So not much of a contribution there. It was kind of an odd game too, because Boston got off to a pretty good start. They were in control. The second quarter, Washington kind of really got its footing, and Boston looked like they were going to be in trouble, late in the second quarter before they finally settled down. And I don't know if you saw this, but I thought the most impressive player for Washington was Ish Smith. Ish Smith came in the game.
Yeah,
he came in the game, and he was kind of Russell Westbrook light. He was playing with incredible pace. Getting out on the fast break, just breaking down whoever was guarding him, and he was highly impressive in the first half. They weren't able to continue in the second half, but it's disappointing the way they played, and with the amount of momentum they had. Not only you talk about Brad Stevens, you got to wonder about Scott Brooks. How much longer can
Yo,
is Washington gonna deal with? Washington's been seemingly just not good for several years now. A lot of that was due to the John Wall injury, but I mean, it's just hard to believe that you could have these two guys who are so talented, and yet you they're in danger of not being in the field, in the Eastern Conference field at all, depending on what happens tomorrow night.
and I just want to say this to your Scott Brooks point, which is incredible. Hey, I know I give a lot of grief to Brad Stevens, but at this point, I'll take Brad Stevens over Scott Brooks. Because, listen, I ain't seen much success without KD or Westbrook. I mean, he got Westbrook again. So I ain't seen much success without KD. You know what I'm saying? So I'm starting to wonder about that fool's gold and Scott Brooks out here sprinkling out here. Just throw that out there.